Hello there, First Philly, especially Mrs. VanNess and Mr. Norton's class. I think you'll notice right away that our lesson looks a little bit different today. I am using a video capture software so that I can show you guys what I'm seeing on my screen as we talk about our last Groovy Joe book. So our last Groovy Joe is called If You're Groovy and You Know It, Hug a Friend. I don't actually have a physical copy of this book, but I did find a YouTube video that has all of the pictures in the book along with the melody for the song that you're going to hear. So we're going to listen to Groovy Joe first. Then we're going to hear just the song, If You're Groovy and You Know It, Hug a Friend. Then Miss Allen is going to teach you how to play it on her brand new electric acoustic ukulele. Oh yeah, that's a good one, friends. You can see ukulele, just a tiny guitar. And it looks very specifically like an old guitar body. And the guitar body that this is modeled after is actually a Gibson guitar body. And they actually have a whole set of different ukulele that look like guitar bodies, and I have kind of been collecting them. It's a little bit of a hobby of mine. And this one actually just came in. I'm really excited about it. It has all of the things that an electric guitar would have. For instance, you can see these kind of black bars on the ukulele. All of that are pickups. Now, a pickup is just a piece of usually metal that is connected electronically to the soundboard of the instrument. The soundboard is obviously inside this kind of solid body, as opposed to on an acoustic guitar where there's a big hole in the middle. That's the sound hole where all of the sound can come out. It doesn't actually need those pickups unless you wanted it to be more available to play at an electric kind of situation. This one, you can see on here, has a plug that you can plug it into an amplifier if you ever need to play stadium ukulele. This one's a pretty good one for you. Was a little bit expensive, but that's what you do when you're paying for a hobby, unfortunately. People hear that, oh, you really want a ukulele that looks like a guitar, huh? Well, I guess we can probably charge you as much money as we want for that. But if you can't get your hands on a ukulele like this, a regular $20 ukulele that you can find on Amazon, equally as rock-worthy. This one's just a little bit cooler. So after we watch our Groovy Joe, then listen to the song, then I'm going to play you the song on my ukulele, and then actually there's a karaoke version of the song where at the end of the video I'm just going to let it play for a little bit, and you guys can think of your own lyrics for Groovy Joe, If You're Groovy and You Know It, Hug a Friend. It's a pretty well-known tune, so I think you might be able to find a lot of different words that go with it. And as far as Groovy Joe goes, he's always trying to get us to do the right thing, to show us that each person can really do a lot of good deeds in their life, and that's what this whole book was about, actually. So if you wanted to write your lyrics about that, then you definitely can, about how you've been using the environment or using even your old science knowledge or anything like that to kind of be around your house for the past month or two. And yeah, I think you guys are going to like it. So here is Groovy Joe. If you're groovy and you know it, hug a friend. shrink myself a little bit just for now so that you can see the most of the screen that you can. So there's our cover. There's our first verse. If you're groovy and you know it, hug a friend. If you're groovy and you know it, hug a friend. If you're groovy and you know it, the things you do will show it. If you're groovy and you know it, hug a friend. If you're groovy and you know it, plant a seed. Next verse. If you're groovy and you know it, plant a seed. If you're groovy and you know it, and you really want to show it. If you're groovy and you know it, plant a seed. Next is sing a song. If you're groovy and you know it, sing a song. If you're groovy and you know it, and your D's or G will show it. If you're happy and you know it. Alright, read a book. So those are some of the pictures that we have in the book. If you're groovy and you know it, hug a friend. Good stuff. So we're going to kind of keep going here. I'm going to fill my screen back up with me. And I'm going to play for you guys now the If You're Groovy and You Know It, Hug a Friend, the audio track. And this is our friend Eric Litwin kind of showing us what to do for this one. Here's If You're Groovy and You Know It, Hug a Friend.
You know it, greet the day. If you're groovy and you know it, greet the day. If you're groovy and you know it, the things you do will show it. If you're groovy and you know it, greet the day. If you're groovy and you know it, go explore. If you're groovy and you know it, go explore. If you're groovy and you know it, the things you do will show it. If you're groovy and you know it, go explore. If you're groovy and you know it, laugh and play. If you're groovy and you know it, laugh and play. If you're groovy and you know it, the things you do will show it. If you're groovy and you know it, laugh and play. If you're groovy and you know it, plant the seed. If you're groovy and you know it, plant the seed. If you're groovy and you know it, the things you do will show it. If you're groovy and you know it, plant the seed. If you're groovy and you know it, read a book. If you're groovy and you know it, read a book. If you're groovy and you know it, the things you do will show it. If you're groovy and you know it, read a book. If you're groovy and you know it, sing your song. If you're groovy and you know it, sing your song. If you're groovy and you know it, the things you do will show it. If you're groovy and you know it, sing your song. If you're groovy and you know it, hug a friend. If you're groovy and you know it, hug a friend. If you're groovy and you know it, the things you do will show it. If you're groovy and you know it, hug a friend.
What a touching video. I was going to play it again. So that is our full song. And did a little movement there with you. If you wanted to do the movement along with me, feel free. Next, it's time for ukulele. So, for that, I need a few things. I need the ukulele. Usually you need some kind of strap to hold the ukulele onto your body. Some ukuleles don't actually have the little pegs that you would need to put on a strap like this. Some of them that don't have pickups, that instead have a sound hole, have just like a little hook that you can go through, so it's a lot easier to hold up, so you don't have to hold up the instrument the whole time. You need to make sure that your instrument is tuned, and you do the tuning up here at the top with the tuning pegs. That's what these guys are called. And if you screw them one way, then the sound on the string gets lower because they're letting slack out of the strings. You can see they're pretty tight against the ukulele there. You can loosen them up and then they'll be a little bit lower, or you could tighten them up even higher and then that would be a much higher pitch. In addition to that, if you wanted to, plug it in, go electric, you got to plug your cable in here and then the other end into the amplifier that you have. You got to make sure that your volume knobs and your stereo knob are turned to wherever you like. Volume is usually at the bottom, and stereo is usually this one up here, and that just means if you want it coming out of one pickup, if you want it coming out of the other pickup, or if you want it coming out of both pickups at the same time, that's going to give you a much richer sound. And then the last thing you're going to need is one of these guys. It is a pick. This one is a guitar pick. You can kind of see on here. It's a Fender medium pick that I actually got for my electric guitar, but since this is an electric ukulele, I figured it would probably work just about the same. There are different thicknesses of pick. This pick is actually pretty skinny. It's known as medium width. And you can see how skinny that is even in the profile of the camera. If you go thicker with your pick, then usually you're playing an instrument that has bigger strings. So if you have one that's way thicker than this, it's probably for playing a bass, an electric bass guitar, or possibly for someone who exclusively plays very rapid music, like death metal. A lot of the times they need to use either a much thicker pick because they're really going hard on their strings, or they just finger pick it because otherwise they just start losing pick after pick in the middle of songs, I'm guessing. So, if you're groovy and you know it, I think you guys might have recognized the song. It's If You're Happy and You Know It, Clap Your Hands, right? It's just they changed the words a little bit. They didn't even change the words that much. And I'm going to show you those chords on ukulele. So, your first chord is going to be the C major chord. Now I usually use the ring finger on my hand for that so that I have these other two fingers free. And that is the only string that you need to press down. You want to press it down on the 3rd fret. These lines in between are separate the frets. And that just means that this pitch is different than this, is different than this, this, and so on and so forth. And you can see that they get a lot closer together because the sounds up at the top of these strings sound very, very close to one another. So they don't need to worry about, like moving their finger over or trying to find the same pitch on a different string. They just come right down here and noodle around. I don't know. I've never been a rock musician, friends, unfortunately. That would give me a lot of cool cred, but I have not done it. So, I have been to a few rock shows, and I have seen the abuse that some of these guitars go through, but other than that, not super well versed. So, you play in your C, you need your pick, and you want to hit every string on this one. So there are 4 strings on the ukulele. You want to make sure that you're strumming all of the strings. And there you go, and that's our C major chord. Now, in the song that we're going to play, that is the first note, the tonic scale degree. I know, super scary. We don't need to worry about that though. We're just going to call it do. So do on this scale is the note C. So if we wanted to build the scale or the chord, then we need to start with C. So that is for the section of the song that goes, if you're happy, if you're groovy and you know it. Then we change to hug a friend. So we're moving up the scale. And that is our G major chord. Can't really see because my fingers are kind of lopsided here. But I'm on the second and third fret. My ring finger has just moved over from C to the next string over. And then I added my two fingers up top in the fret above. So that is our G major chord. And that brings us to hug a friend. So together we have, if you're happy and you know it, hug a friend. Then we keep going with this chord for the next word. Or if you're groovy and you know it, hug a friend. And we're back to C again. If you're groovy, so even higher up the scale we're talking about. Now we have F major, groovy, and you know it. And that's moving my middle finger over, my pointer finger over as well, and up. So instead of being on the second and third fret, I'm on the first and second fret. Groovy and you know it, and you back to C, you really want to show it. If you're groovy and you know it, hug a friend. So the whole song that we just went through only needs 3 chords. Just needs that C major, needs that G major, and needs that F7 chord. Actually, that one is an F7. And then you have if you're groovy and you know it. You have if you're happy and you know it. I'm going to be working with you guys, especially Mrs. VanNess class that is going to become first graders next school year. We're going to be talking a lot about the ukulele, and we're going to use it a lot in our lessons. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you bright and early on Monday for your next lesson. All right, have a good one, guys.